The lead story today for Geek News Central in a live interview, GoDaddy CEO Aman Bhutani discussed the continued relevance of websites in 2024 amidst the rise of generative AI and evolving digital landscape. Bhutani highlighted GoDaddy's shift from being just a domain register to supporting micro businesses with tools like AI powered platform IRO. He stressed the value websites offer small businesses for legitimacy and control over customer relationships despite competition from social platforms. Botani elaborated on GoDaddy's organizational structure, investment in AI, and commitment to helping customers transition into digital spaces effectively, focusing on discovery, engagement, and ROI. Welcome to episode 1782, coming to this Monday, November 25th. I'm your host, Todd Cochran, ready to deliver you your geek tech news and information fix. A quick shout out to our credit sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all our fantastic listeners, you are the heartbeat of this show. If you want to support the GNC mission, head to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We are lit and live thanks to modern podcast apps, but don't just listen. Experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. You can interact in real time and take your podcasting experience to the next level. While you're at it, check out the full Geek News Central universe at geeknewscentral.com, where you'll find all our partner shows, tons of content, and more tech goodness. Of course, stay in the loop. Follow and subscribe to your favorite podcast app and join the community. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter for even more insider scoops. And have something to say? Join the conversation at geeknews.chat or email me geeknews@gmail.com. You can hit me up on X at Geek News and even catch me on Facebook. Of course, Geek News Central listeners, you've got great savings, great opportunity here. It's ironic we've got an article today about GoDaddy and the relevance of websites. You know, you should engage and you can get our exclusive savings right now at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy with our GoDaddy promo codes. Want to start a website or a podcast? Our promo codes make it easy and affordable to grab a GoDaddy economy hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's just a full year of hosting. Again, grab an economy hosting account for just $6.99 a month for a full year with a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. You can grab or click the promo codes on the website as in addition to grab a WordPress website. We can get WordPress managed hosting for just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain name, professional email, and SS certificates. Of course, those prices again are good for 1 year. If you need a domain name, get yours for just $11.99. And if you're testing the waters, try GoDaddy's website builder free for a whole month. Again, you can get the business, personal, or business plus plans. That's a free 30-day trial of GoDaddy website builder. All these codes are available at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And of course, I use all of the GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use our promo code to save money and back this independent team of creators. Share my details with friends and family because every time a code is used, it's just like writing a check to Geek News Central directly. Thank you for keeping us online and going strong. Again, get the latest deals at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's ready for the Thanksgiving holiday. Last week, last Thursday, I have to apologize. The live show was going. We're running strong. No issues, and a knock at the door. And I had asked for some maintenance. We had an issue with our shower door and the two-door issues and the sliding glass door. And I'd asked the maintenance folks to come at a specific time. And of course, they came about an hour early and they're knocking at the door, knocking at the door, knocking at the door. Not an issue to pause the show when you're doing audio only, but when you're doing video, yeah, it just didn't make sense. So I essentially terminated the live stream, went and answered the door, and said, "Can you give me 20 minutes?" Came back and finished the show. So that is why there was no video on the last podcast. So it's my apologies here. It's kind of funny. This morning, I had ordered some stuff online. They typically go order a deliver late in the afternoon. Of course, just getting ready to pull the trigger here, and the phone rings, and it's the delivery folks. So I've got one more delivery coming today. So hopefully in the next 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, the phone doesn't ring again. If it does, we'll figure it out. But hey, thanks for being here. And again, no show on Thursday. That's a holiday here in the United States. So be back with, be back with you a week from Monday. I know that's annoying. I'm sorry. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the content here. Lots to go through. This main story. It's not very often that we get GoDaddy as a lead story, but today for sure that was the case. And one thing that is to be considered in this discussion they had um, was that they talked about the role of a website in an driven world on whether AI tools like this product called Arrow, AIRO, could democratize web creation further, making it easier from a non-technical to maintain a meaningful digital presence and or being able to have a balance between automation and human creativity. Of course, he talked about small businesses and digital independence, about the psychological impact of having a website. And, some of these things are, I've known from you share real world success stories of businesses that could use websites to establish credibility and scale their operations. That's something we've known here for a long, long time. That having a website is super, super important. As AI changes things, I don't know how it's going to impact the whole world. I really don't. Of course, GoDaddy has evolved from just a domain to a domain, so for some place you go buy domains to a service provider. And he discussed the competitive positioning against platforms like Squarespace and Wix and how they're working to improve business integration. And of course, the impact on AI and web development and SEO. They had a debate on whether AI generated content might oversaturate the web and how this could impact search engine rankings and customer trust. Um, and again, about monetizing the AI strategy. So, I think it's a changing world, and we need to understand that the future of open web here is really at stake with AI, and customer retention and building success is going to be super important. I think there has to be found a happy balance to an extent in this whole new world that we're living in. So, I still continue to think a GoDaddy domain name is incredibly important in the world we live in today. Um, but I don't know. It's going to change. It really, really is with AI search in a big, 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 big way. But anyway, great interview over on The Verge. Link will be up in the show notes for you to check out. And then a little bit of a non-surprising development, X is admitting that they're throttling links. So if you put a link directly in your X post, they're throttling the links, not wanting people to go off-site. And this strategy is so stupid. They're saying, "Oh, put the link in a reply." You reply to your own message with a link. How many times do you see a Twitter or X post and then you click on the replies? What do I put in the text now? The reply is the link is in the reply. I don't agree with their strategy here. And again, it's their biggest flaw is the deprioritization of tweets with links in them. Um, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And these comments align with past guidance from X, encourage users to post native content such as videos and articles directly to the form rather than linking to a third-party site. Um, so again, this may be one of the reasons why some people are leaving X because of this ongoing issue with linking to content, and it just basically uh, gets deprioritized, and it just kind of sucks. It really does. Um, so I guess major criticism from me as well. I rely on that inbound traffic. It's super, super critical for the site's existence. And they just keep putting up roadblocks. These sites do not want people leaving. They want you to stay on Twitter. They want you to stay on Facebook. They want you to stay on Instagram. They don't want you to leave. They don't want you to come to geeknewscentral.com. And the search engines are going to be doing the same damn thing. So I don't. It's got me stressed hard. And if you're a business owner, you should be stressed hard too. There's major impacts here that could be happening to a wide variety of businesses, and I don't know what the solution is, to be honest with you. At the same time, OpenAI has blamed New York Times for tech problems in the erasing of evidence and copyright abuse. There's a little bit of spit spat going back and forth from what we talked about on Monday. OpenAI denied deleting evidence, instead admitted only that the file system information was inadvertently removed after the New York Times requested a change that resulted in a self-inflicted wound. According to OpenAI, the tech problem emerged because New York Times was hoping to speed up its searches and requested a change to the model inspection set that AI warned would yield no speed improvements and might even hinder performance. They accused New York Times of negligence during discovery, repeat running flawed code, conducting searches of URLs and phrases from various newspaper articles, and failing to back up their data. Alleged the change New York Times requested resulted in removing the folder structure and some file names on the hard drive, which was supposed to be used as a temporary cache for storing OpenAI data, but evidently was used by the plaintiffs to save some of the search results. So anyway, a little bit of back and forth here. Not surprising that is the response by OpenAI. But this article is pretty critical. And they say, oh, it's not the first time OpenAI has deleted data. They say in May, the book authors, including Sarah Silverman and Paul Tremblay, told a U.S. District Court in California that they admitted to leading controversial AI training sets at issue in the litigation. Additionally, OpenAI admitted that witnesses knowledgeable about the creation of these data sets apparently left the company. So, again, lots of fingers being pointed. Ars Technica not taking any prisoners with OpenAI. The best apps of 2024, according to Apple. It's interesting. Some of these I've literally never heard of these. And you can see it again. They're talking about the iPhone app of the year, Kino, easily create a cinematic video, Runa, Create a structured running routine. Tripsy, plan and log travel plans and experiences. Then it's about games. Um, Lots of games, like arcade, uh, Mac App of the Year finalist. So this is an actual Adobe Lightroom, OmniFocus, Sharper 3D. Again, more games, more Apple Watch apps, Lookup, Lumi, Watch to 5K, it's a marathon training app. Then they talk about Vision Pro app, Vision Pro Game of the Year, Apple TV app of the year, Cultural Impact finalist. So most of these apps I've never heard of. And of course, there's so many out there. I'm not surprised to be quite frank with you that I'd never heard of some of these apps. The James Webb Telescope has produced a stunning view of the Sombrero Galaxy, and people are fawning over this. This image shows a stunning and fashionable sight, the Sombrero Galaxy, named for its resemblance to the traditional Mexican hat, with its wide, flat shape reminiscent of the hat's wide brim. The galaxy, also known as Mesner 104, his outer rings are clearly visible for the first time. And so, in a great image over at digitaltrends.com. Avast security tools have been hijacked in order to crack antivirus protection. A vulnerable driver can be abused to disable antivirus protection. This is not the first time this has happened. The vulnerable driver has been exploited in a number of attacks since 2021, with original vulnerability being present since at least 2016. The malware can use the vulnerable driver to end the process of security software at the kernel level. In other words, it just turns off the antivirus. So probably not an application you want to continue to use if you're using Avast. I've not heard of this issue with other apps in the past, but Avast is definitely a tool it's got some issues out there. Meta is facing an April trial case seeking to unwind Instagram merger. So the FTC is basically taking him to court and basically saying the company acted illegally to maintain a monopoly on personal social networks. Basically, Facebook overpaid for Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014 to eliminate threats instead of competing on its own mobile ecosystem, the FTC claims. So we'll see where this one leads. A little more news about Google today, too. I'll share that here. If you've have experience with Runway, Runway is a pretty cool AI app. Runway can now mimic everything from 35 millimeter disposable cameras to an 80s sci-fi film by setting the genre type. And, I've had some medium success with this application, but the new model they're introducing is called Frames and allows users the ability to generate images on a wide variety of subjects while strictly adhering to a consistent visual style and aesthetic, whether it's mimicking 80s camp films like Flash Gordon and Xanadu, aping the format of 90s era 35 millimeter disposable cameras, or retro anime generating sweeping landscapes or carefully composed still life shots. Frame sticks to the artistic style the user dictates. Now, they've got some pretty impressive videos on their X account that have been created that are pretty amazing. Again, I think what it goes back to is often just working with these prompts to get a great outputs. But again, you're using credits the entire time. If you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, please check in and say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for being online today with us. We definitely appreciate it. I'm trying to get this forward screen. There we go. Of course, Google, again, this past Monday, basically lawyers said that Google had created a monopoly with its services and to place ads online. Now, the U.S. government says Google is once, twice, three times a monopoly. He says these are markets that make the free and open internet possible. Google's lead lawyer, Karen Dunn, countered that the government had failed to offer the evidence to prove its case and was on shaky legal ground. Google's conduct is a story of innovation and response to competition. The arguments made at the USA versus Google antitrust suit that just department in 8 states filed against Google last year. The judge showed a little bit of doubt against each. So he will have to decide the merits of the case in the coming months. So probably quiet on this front for a while, but definitely we'll continue to watch this. Could have major implications. Microsoft Outlook and Teams were down for a while. And as reported by Deadline, over 5,000 people reported issues with different Microsoft 365 apps since around 8 a.m. Eastern this morning. Outages affecting worldwide usage of email calendar service associated with Exchange, Outlook, and Teams. Microsoft posted on the X during the morning to acknowledge the problem and has since deployed a fix as of around 12 Eastern that reached 98% affected environments. The fix involves manual restarts of a subset of machines that what they call are in a unhealthy state. However, around an hour later, the company said this was progressing slower than anticipated for the majority of affected users. At 2 p.m., Microsoft published another post announcing further delays with the fix and apologizing for the impact on businesses. So this has continued for a while today, late into the evening. So we'll see how things go with them tomorrow. You know, one thing that I found when every time I drive an electric vehicle is range anxiety, and it really is an issue to the point where I just don't think I can handle driving an electric vehicle just because of that simple situation, especially where I live, just a lack of chargers. If you want to travel, I just can't imagine planning travel with an electric vehicle. But they're saying EV range anxiety could be a thing of the past thanks to Mercedes' new solar paint, which promises thousands of free miles a year. And drivers in sunnier climates could get around 7,400 free miles each year. So apparently, they've been able to add a new kind of surface onto the vehicle. So, AKA, the paint is the panel. According to the German marquee, the solar modules measure just 5 micrometers in thickness, significantly thinner than a human hair, and weigh just 50 grams per square meter. They can be applied to almost any substrate, with the application of future vehicles likely coming in the form of a wafer-thin layer of paste that will cover most of the bodywork. And we know that Mercedes has past experience with solar panels and the impact they can have on electric range, as the company's record-breaking EQXX concept, the rolling lab, that was quite ugly, that drove more than 620 miles on a single charge, used a small solar panel on the roof that added around 18 miles of additional range during its long-distance record attempt. So maybe cars in the future will be quite ugly because they will be covered with solar panels. Time will tell. I don't know if Mercedes will go that far or not. You know, it's that time of year where people are starting thinking about cleaning up their phones, cleaning up apps, subscribing to new podcasts. It just kind of happens during this time of year. And you may want to remove your personal information from results on Google. And there's a step-by-step way to do this provided by the folks at Android Central. And it's pretty intuitive on how to do this. And it's only 13 steps, ladies and gentlemen. But the first 5 are just getting to the right location. Morning voice this morning. My God. That's why singers sing before they go on stage to get their voices warmed up. I guess I need to sing before I pull up the microphone to make sure that my voice is ready to go. Roku is building its content into Google TV. So this is a big change. They're making it easier to find and watch its programming without jumping between apps. Users can soon search for content from the Roku channel, which is Roku's free streaming app, directly on Google TV, providing quick access to Roku's library of over 80,000 movies and TV shows. So, new category tabs are coming to Google TV home screen that will suggest recommended Roku content alongside the ability to jump back into an unfinished TV show and movies. So, the integration will also bring more than 500 of Roku's fast, free ad supported streaming television channels to the live tab on Google TV. Those channels will include free programming across news, sports, cooking, DIY, music, and more. So expect this to come in the near future. If you like the retro look, if you're one of those folks that just love retro stuff, build your next PC like it's 1999. Silverstone has a new PC case with a retro beige box you can fill with modern components. The outside of it looks just like a PC from the 80s, maybe even early 90s. The Japanese company has been making PC components and cases since it launched in 2003, and last year during its 20th anniversary, it shared its first details and images of this, timed to coincide with April's Fool's Day. But the response was so dramatic, people said, yes, we want it. And they're going to make it available for about $130. So again, its design is inspired by the NEC PC 9800 line of desktop PCs, which were popular in Japan from the 80s until the early 2000s. The 5.25-inch floppy drive on its front are a facade and sadly fake, but they flip down to real a DVD drive as well as front-facing ports, including a headphone jack, USB A and C. So that's kind of a slick little trick that they've done. So if you want to build a PC to make it look like it's 1999, again, go ahead and do so. California is reportedly ready to pick a fight with the new president if he kills the federal EV tax credit. Governor Gavin Newsom vowed to bring back the state's rebate for new electric vehicles if President-elect follows through on his threat to kill the federal tax credit. During the campaign, he vowed to eliminate mandate on day one, and now with his transition underway, his advisors are already discussed including a measure to kill the $7,500 tax credit for new EV purchases as part of a broader tax reform package. If he succeeds, Newsom said he'll step up and revive the state's recently phased out clean vehicle program, which offered rebates from $1,000 to $7,500. Now, that's great. Go ahead and use California money on it. All for it. Continue to make California place very expensive to live for the taxpayers. It's a great idea. Windows 11, my oh my. Windows 11 is getting more adverts. People are not sure what's going on with the latest ads, but they're rather bewildering. If you don't like adverts in Windows 11, the effort Microsoft calls suggestions, then steel yourself because it seems they're stepping up its promotional drive in the operating system in somewhat of a left field way. Windows latest calls the attention to these fresh ad-related activities, which amount to nudges to purchase a game and also Microsoft 365. The alerts coming from via the notification panel labeled as suggestions, and the game in question is Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Vault Edition, which Microsoft wants you to buy from, you guessed it, the Microsoft Store. In fact, a buy now button in the notification will take you straight to the store page for that version. Windows latest also shows another notification prompt in the exact same vein as Black Ops 6, except this time it's advertising Microsoft Defender app and Microsoft 365. Now, there is an off switch. So All you need to do to get rid of prompts is go uncheck the box, get tips and suggestions when using Windows in the Settings app under System Notifications. So again, to get rid of these ads, uncheck the box, get tips and suggestions when using Windows in the Setting app under System/Notification, and then you'll not be advertised to on a piece of software that you have purchased. Google is going to face massive UK action over search dominance. Again, so another class action. Google must face a $7 billion class action lawsuit that accuses the company of harming consumers by abusing its dominance in search. On Friday, the UK's Competition Appeal and Tribunal ruled that the case can move forward, adding to the growing number of legal conflicts Google has to confront worldwide. This was initially filed in September 2023 by consumer rights advocate Nikki Stopford. It alleges that Google anti-competitive practices made it more expensive for companies to advertise. I agree, leading to higher prices for millions of consumers across the UK. So she says continues to rig the search engine market to charge advertisers more, which raises the prices they charge. Boy, it's a whole scam. We've talked about it on here a number of times already. Yeah. Well, one thing you don't want to smell is a strange smell in space. The International Space Station crew reported an unexpected odor from the Russian Progress cargo spacecraft. The Progress MS-29 docked at the Poisk module at 9:31 a.m. Eastern, a little more than 2 days after its launch. The spacecraft, designated as Progress 90, was carrying about 2,500 kilograms of cargo, water, and propellant for the station. However, the station's crew reported in communication with ground controls that when cosmonauts opened the hatch, they noted a strong smell and drops of some kind of fluid not identified in the discussion. Controllers activated a filtration system, contaminants, and the crew closed the hatch. So apparently that the air is good now, and they're going to proceed to unload it. But probably some sort of internal leak. But when you smell something that isn't, that's just like flying in airplanes. We would smell a fire before there was a fire. We would smell something smoldering. And it's, that's not something you want to smell. And when you have a strange smell coming out of a spacecraft, it's supposed to be pure air. You don't want any, that's bad news. An interesting hacking attack. Russian hackers are attacking innocent companies to get access to neighboring companies. So listen to this. An attack on an unnamed U.S. company, a customer of Volexity, who is a Ukraine company, started with password spraying to try to acquire the credentials for the victim's enterprise Wi-Fi network. The firm's multi-factor authentication protected its public-facing system. However, the hackers then turned to a nearby organization to force entry. So this is a Wi-Fi attack being done by Russian hackers. How is this actually being done if they're not in Russia or Ukraine? The threat actor was halfway around the world and cannot actually connect to the victim's enterprise Wi-Fi network. To overcome this hurdle, the threat actor worked to compromise other organizations who were in buildings within close proximity to the victim's office. The strategy was to breach another organization, and then they exploited a device that was connected to both wired and wireless networks and acted as a bridge to target the enterprise's Wi-Fi, enabling lateral movement and data exfiltration. So this is pretty amazing. They attacked a neighboring business, was able to exploit a tool on their network, then used that to connect to the network they wanted to hack and was able to pull data out. That's amazing. That really is. That's a pretty incredible hack if you think about it. Not only do you have to protect yourself, you have to protect yourself from your neighbors. Blue Sky, well, they're getting some attention. The European Union says Twitter alternative to Blue Sky violates the EU Digital Service Act rules around information disclosure. But since Blue Sky isn't yet big enough to be considered a very large online platform under the DSA, the regulators say they can't regulate Blue Sky the way it does X. But the European Commission spokesperson told reporters about the violation during a Monday press briefing. So he went on to say the Commission has asked the EU's 27 national governments to look for any trace of Blue Sky, like EU-based offices. The regulator hasn't reached out to Blue Sky directly yet. So, the EU looking to fill their coffers with more money, that's for sure. iPhone 17 Slim rumors are still floating around. A new rumor suggesting the iPhone's return to thinness is making it hard to fit things like a battery and SIM card. So, again, Apple engineers wrestling where to put the SIM card, battery, and thermal materials. Although US iPhones haven't had SIM cards for a couple of years now, they're required in China, making it tricky but necessary hurdle to get over. I tell you, I love these eSIMs. They're fantastic, but you got to be careful when you're traveling not to delete your SIM that is your SIM back in America. That's for sure. The Supreme Court is going to review the Fifth Circuit ruling that upends the Universal Service Fund. You guys remember about the Universal Service Fund? Basically, the U.S. Court of Appeals ruled in July that the FCC's Universal Service Fund is unconstitutional, and the fees on phone bills are a misbegotten tax. The FCC and several non-government groups challenged the ruling, and the Supreme Court agreed to take up the case Friday. So again, they get $8 billion to subsidize the expansion of telecom networks with grants to internet service providers, and makes access more affordable through programs such as Lifeline discounts. So, yet I think most of the programs never really end up expanding accessibility for anyone. Corning, the glass company, Corning offers Gorilla Glass concession to settle more EU antitrust cases. Gorilla Glass has proposed several commitments in an attempt to settle the antitrust investigation. The block launched a probe into Corning on November 6 over concerns the New York-based company used exclusivity contracts to push out rival glass makers from the phone industry, allowing it to dominate the world market for break-resistant Alloy AS glass. If accepted, the EU Commission says Corning changes will be applicable worldwide and remain in force for at least 9 years. During that time, Corning will be monitored by the EU to ensure ongoing compliances. So, this bullying continues. Your Samsung phone might be getting ChatGPT as part of Galaxy AI, according to a new rumor. Apparently, OpenAI is in talks with Samsung Electronics to bring AI capabilities to Samsung electronic devices. As the tweet points out, it would be a surprising move because Samsung already has a Google Gemini LLM behind its Galaxy AI, which is powering its most recent smartphones. Have you seen the Galaxy S24? That's a beautiful phone. Absolutely beautiful. Brazil's added as well. Everything is antitrust these days, ladies and gentlemen. Brazil's antitrust body rules Apple must lift restrictions on in-app payments. So they said on Monday that Apple must lift restrictions on payment methods for in-app purchases, among other things, as a watchdog move to proceed with an investigation and complaint filed by Latin America e-commerce giant Mercado Libre. So, in the complaint, Mercado Libre criticized the California tech giant for requiring developers that offer digital goods or services with apps to use Apple's own payment systems and stopping them from redirecting buyers to its own website. Yep, they'll just charge you an extra 30% on your Apple is going to win this. Another preventive measure is that Apple must allow app developers to offer in-app payments processing options apart from the one owned by Apple. And Apple have 20 days to comply with the measure, imposing a 250,000 real or about $43,000 fine per day if Apple fails to comply with the demands. We'll see how this goes. I mean, you know what they did last time. Uh, we'll see. Anthropic is proposing a new way to connect data to AI chatbots. So they're proposing a new standard for connecting AI assistants to the systems where data resides, called the Model Context Protocol. Anthropic says the standard, which is open source today, could help AI models produce better, more relevant responses to queries. So again, AI assistants are going to be a big thing. So see where this goes. If you're not an insider yet, please consider becoming one. geeknewscentral.com/insider. We want to thank all of our insiders for their ongoing contributions to the show. Also consider this show a value for value show where you can contribute your time, talent, or treasure. Time and talent being linking me to new articles, providing art, whatever it may be. The time and talent piece we definitely appreciate, but we definitely appreciate when you consider contributing your treasure to the show as well. You can go to geeknewscentral.com/insider and become an insider today, signing up for 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, or $25 monthly contribution to the show or making a one-time PayPal donation. You also can participate by picking up one of those new podcast apps at podcastapps.com and join the Podcasting 2.0 evolution, which includes value for value. It's been my pleasure to bring you a show today. There'll be no show on Thursday, of course, because of Thanksgiving. Don't forget about our sponsor at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We definitely appreciate your support of GoDaddy as a sponsor. And of course, again, my email here is geeknews@gmail.com, at geeknews on X, and at geeknews@geeknews.chat on Mastodon. Be back with you a week from today for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. I will mention we had our 2 new employees start today, and very, very pleased with the first day. And they're drinking from the fire hose with essentially all of the information that I'm dumping on them. But that's kind of the case when you start a new job. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Take care. And again, have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for your ongoing support.